What's up, everybody? It's Sunday. It's the weekly close. Is it the calm before the storm? Are we going to see a big alt season? I think we will, and I'm going to show you a few reasons why, and also a couple reasons why we should still be a little bit cautious at the moment where we are for the short term. So I think, when we look at something like Monero, it is showing me absolute strength. Why is it showing absolute strength? And you can say, well, who cares about Monero? What about this coin? What about that coin? Well, the point is, what coin, that's been around for a while is showing tremendous strength. We know Bitcoin, we know XRP, and a few others. They're pretty strong, doing pretty good. So, yeah, I think when we look at Monero in particular, right, we've been in this range for multiple years, right? What is it, 2.5 years or so? And you can see just recently we've broken out of this range. You can see we've been ranging in this accumulation zone for 2.5 years, right? So we broke out of that and then we back tested. And now we're back up challenging the swing high over here. That to me shows tremendous bullishness from an asset otherwise not popular, right? Makes you wonder what's going on here. Could it be the deep state, right? Because think about it. And this is crazy conspiracy, but just hear me out. Trump became president, right? He's fighting a lot of evil forces, right? The corruption, the deep state, all that stuff, if you believe it or not, whatever, right? So, what if the deep state is like, okay, we still got to make our transactions with our criminal buddies, right? There's criminals all over the world. I mean, so there's that, right? And the heat is on them a lot more now that they don't have their buddy in the White House, Mr. Joe Biden, right? So now they're kind of like, it's a little bit more scary, sketchy for them. So what do they need to do? They still need to do their business, their operations, but they don't want to be tracked by Space Force. They don't want to be, and yes, Space Force does track a lot of cyber security things, right? So, and that's partly why I believe Trump put that there is for the cybersecurity to safeguard the election. And you could say, well, what about the 2020 election? Well, he was supposed to lose. Well, he was supposed to. I mean, he won, but he was not supposed to be in office during that time because it was better if he took a pause for 4 years, allowed Joe Biden to do what he does, right, so that people can see the differences, right? So anyway, I digress. But I think now they didn't think Trump would come back, and he did. So they need to move money around and they need privacy, right? Monero, you can't track certain transactions, right? Because where am I getting all this? I'm trying to think of a narrative because I've been talking about Monero for a while now of why Monero is so bullish. Fundamentally, it's really not that bullish. It's a privacy coin. Yeah. Who cares? It's not like Solana where you have a lot of things that are being built on the network effect, or like Ethereum or Bitcoin or XRP, right? It's not even near the caliber for them. I don't even know who's developing on there. But what could Monero be used for? Privacy transactions. Well, who would need privacy? People who either are very anal about what they do, or people who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing, right? Like, think about terrorists, think about the deep state, think about, people trying to transact with their criminal buddies that now that Trump's in office, now they need to do that more securely, right? So that's maybe, I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe that's the reason why we're seeing a little bit of a pump here, right? So as the FBI gets closer and closer to their deep state operation, I mean, just look at look at the Mueller witch hunt, look at all that stuff that took place, right? That's not because Donald Trump's a bad person. That's because they're afraid that he's going to expose what they've done, and they don't want to screw up their operation. So they need to get him out of the picture. And that's why we had COVID, right? They created this whole thing just because, you know, to get him, right? So they killed millions of people, killed millions of businesses, destroyed millions of lives, all to get Trump, right? Think about it. They released a virus in 2020, right before he was about to get elected again. And they played right into his hand, actually. So anyway, I digress. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to ask myself, why would Monero be bullish? And you could say, well, why is it bullish? It's not bullish. It's only it looks actually bearish, right? It barely broke out. How could you say it's bullish? Well, if we look, and I've showed this before, but if you look at XRP, or we don't even have to look at XRP, we can look at Ethereum as well, but I like to show XRP. And here we go. So you can see, and I actually use this one down here as well. Trying to show you the differences here, so you can see right there, rise, crash, retrace, rise, crash, retrace, come down into reaccumulation. You go sideways, and look at this, you break out like a monster. So we are at the cutting edge of that, potentially, right? So that could be a big payday, you know? Which means what? Which means if Monero is going to do something like that, then that suggests that the rest of the market could also do something like that. Maybe even bigger, better than Monero, right? The reason I like it is because it completed all the phases that I need to see. Now, if you fast forward over here, same thing. You got this reaccumulation center here, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation sideways. You got the big breakout. You're battling right at the all-time high. Monero's barely poking out. So you still got a long ways to go. So if XRP can break out, Monero can get to here. So I'm just kind of painting the picture that we see bullishness, right? And if I'm looking at the 10-minute chart or the 1 hour, the 5 hour, or whatever chart, right? The daily. No. This is the whole enchilada. This is the weekly. This is the whole entire chart. This is the macro structure here. So this is years. This is 7+ years in the making of what this is printing. And it's printing something very nice. So 7-year range. Now, Monero is going to be one of the biggest bases in crypto history, right? Because as soon as XRP breaks out, you know what I mean? So look how long that base is. Sideways is what you want, right? Because that leads into something massive. So that's Monero. Now, if we look at the weekly chart, guys, look at this. Look at this, guys. This is creeping up on you here. Right now, we are about 4 hours away, less than 4 hours away, probably way less by the time you watch this video. But look how close we are from having a new weekly close high. Remember, the rest of the market got smashed. Like you look at SHIB, you look at THETA, you look at all the other ones, they got pretty beat up. But Monero is like, I don't care. Look at me. Look how great I am. Look how strong I am. Maybe because the deep state's using me a lot more, right? So if we can get the weekly candle to close above 222, which is not that far away, I'd actually prefer it to be a little bit higher. Yeah, so we're literally $1 above above where we should be. So as long as we close $1 above 222, then we have the weekly close high. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. It could happen. But let's say, even if it does happen, what are some of the risks? What are some of the scary potential downside factors that we could see? Well, we could see this be an A, a B, and a C. We could see some kind of flat in here that comes back down, revisits the lows, even maybe sweeping the lows before ultimately going much, much, much higher. So that's the danger when you have a B wave, if this is a B wave, A, B, C, right? Unless this is a 1 and a 2, and now we're going up for 3. Is this a third wave, or is this a B wave? We don't know. And that's the risky part. That's the risky part, right? It doesn't look like a B wave completely, but when we zoom in maybe a little bit, it's a little corrective, right? You could see it's a little choppy in here. But the way it looks to me, guys, see, it's all about the look. The way the candles look, the structure, it tells the story. You don't need 100 indicators, right? I see some of these guys, they got lines all over their chart. They got indicators there, indicators there. They got the MACD, the volume, the RSI, this, and they still can't figure it out. I don't need that. I just need the candles. Just give me the candles and nothing else. I don't need anything else. Now, what I like to use is I like to use sequential. I like to use the bull market support band. Sometimes the EMA ribbon, but you hardly ever see me use it because I don't necessarily. I mean, I'll turn it on once in a while. I like my charts clean, crisp. I don't need clutter. I hate when people clutter their charts with so many things. It's like it's not making you better. It's actually making it more complicated, right? So anyway, we could see this thing is butting up against this resistance line, and I'm getting very excited. I'm super excited because I have a very big position in Monero, and it could be a home run or it could be a complete bust. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll tell you what, if we break this low down here, then I'm out. Right? If we start taking this low, I'm going to start scaling out. So I'm not going to lose a lot of money. I'll lose a little bit, but not a lot. I think the risk is worth the reward. And this is not financial advice. I could be wrong. Monero could just go to 0 and it's done. Right? So you just don't know. But why I'm super bullish is, if you notice, let me show you on a smaller time frame here. Okay. So I like the way that it's giving me XRP vibes here. The way it cups into the resistance, comes back down, and then it kind of trails up. It cups into the resistance, comes back down, holds the same trend line, comes back up, and now it's kind of cupping in here. Right? So if we can get back up to here, you could see this, the trend line, or you would call it the demand line, right, is intersecting with the supply line. And the supply line is horizontal, right? And the demand line is rising. So the demand line is stronger than the supply line. For example, you can have a triangle. The most bullish triangle in the world is an ascending triangle. If you have a triangle like this, it's equal, right? The demand line is equal to the supply line. It's rising, this is falling until you get to the apex and then one breaks. Versus having this be flat and this be rising. So this is is not going down, it's going sideways, and this is rising, so it's a lot more bullish, right? So that's what we see here. Now, it's not the beautifulest ascending triangle. Usually ascending triangles, you want to see them kind of oscillate really quickly back and forth. This one kind of dragged its butt on the belly of the triangle, which makes you think, well, maybe it could be a bear flag, a corrective structure. But what I like here is the way it broke out of the bear flag. It came back down, it retested it, and now it's back into the retracement level. So we're at a dangerous spot. I'm not gonna lie. This is a scary spot to be in. Because of this move here. Could this be a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and a 5? Yeah, it could be. Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. Because I look at this. First of all, you got to zoom out a little bit here. Okay. And you can see, you got a 1, 2, another 1. And look at this. You got 3 down, you got 3 up, and you got 5 down. So you got this beautiful 3-wave move. 1, 2, right? And then you got another 1, 2. And then you have another 1, 2. And then you potentially have another 1, 2, unless that's part of the correction, which I think it is. So we have 3 down, boom, boom. So look at that flat right there. That's a running flat, super bullish. And then following the flat, you got this accumulation in here. And then you tag the high, you come back, you back test it, and now you're right at the cusp. Guys, this is interesting to me, like very, very interesting. It's probably the most interesting chart I've seen in a long time. And that goes back to XRP, right? So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, I could be wrong. I don't hear. Here's the interesting part. Who's talking about Monero? Nobody. I just don't really see anybody talking about Monero. I guess if you type Monero in YouTube, you're going to find videos, but I don't really see it on the mainstream. And I do not consider myself the mainstream, not even close. So, and I think that's a good thing, right? Because, if 200,000 people are watching what you're saying, then that's 200,000 people that could potentially trade the same way, which then makes the trade go in the opposite direction. When you have too many people, right? If everybody on the planet decided to long Monero, Monero would die. It would be the death blow, because you can't have a million winners, and you have to have most people have to lose in crypto. There are more losers in crypto than there are winners, unless you hodl. If you hodl, then you're okay. If I look at the smaller time frames, they also look a little bit not as good, but it's okay. So if we see a diagonal here, right? And we have maybe a 3-way pullback, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see an ABC. So I think we could potentially go down over the next maybe day or so and complete this 3-wave correction and then continue higher. But again, I go back to the weekly chart. Can we close above the swing high of 222? And then I go back to the 30-minute, and look at that. We are clearly above it. So if we come down and retest it and hold it and then start bouncing back above it, that's going to be a good sign for the weekly close, right? So anyways, that's that. By the way, remember this? All right. Money, money, money. I love that song. That's so cool. And back when Donald Trump had a much simpler life on The Apprentice, that was funny. Um, yeah, hopefully we could be playing that song a lot in the next 6 months. Speaking of Trump, um, Trump coin, we got this weird wave here. It was kind of looking good, and it still is okay. It's so brand new, it's kind of hard to know exactly how it moves, but just looking at it, it looks like an ABC. You have an impulse and you have a three-way pullback. I just don't know if it's enough, right? Because if this comes up and it shoots up like this could be a flat with another three down to match this, right? So there's your W, there's your X, and there's your Y. The X is so big, though, I don't think that's the case. I think it's just going to be an ABC. This could be a 1. This could be a 2. Let's see if we get 3, 4, and 5. Or what would be probably healthier is if we can kind of cup in here, make a range, and then break out. Maybe like an inverse head and shoulders or something. Like maybe this could be the shoulder. We come down, we get a head, and then, something like that. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting on the sidelines. I'm not so sure about it. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually looking okay. It's holding up. It's pretty strong right now. I think institutional money is getting, Donald Trump mentioned crypto many times since he's been president. He signed a crypto bill, promises made, promises kept. Right? I told you guys, I said, look, man, he's going to win, and he won. And, I felt like they're going to try to steal it. Luckily, they couldn't. They couldn't get it done. It was just too big to rig. And now we're going to see a lot more good stuff happen, I think. So, but yeah, you can totally see a rising demand line and a falling supply line. So which one has a steeper incline? You can kind of go by that. I would almost say they're about equal. Maybe this one's a little steeper. So which way are we going to break? It's hard to know. Really, it is. We're just going to have to wait and see. But typically, I would imagine it would break to the upside. The reason why is because you have an impulse and you're sort of triangulating. You get this triangle here at the top of the range here, versus coming down at the bottom of the range and creating a triangle. You hit the downside. Triangles are usually continuations of the prior trend. In this case, it's up. So I'd like to see us break to the upside. And what did I say? I said Saturday, Sunday, it's probably going to be low volatility, and that's exactly what we got. It's basically flat. So once the stock market opens, plus we have Fed Powell speaking this week. I mean, this week is going to be massive because there's going to be a lot of volatility. We're at very key, interesting moments in time with Bitcoin, XRP. A lot of them are just in very interesting spots, and I'm going to talk about those spots shortly. I was at Anaheim Stadium last night, and we were watching the Supercross, the dirt bikes. It was very cool. My boy Eli Tomac, he got his heat race. He won it. The main event, he got a bad start and he was struggling through the pack. He ended up, I think, 6th or 7th. But all in all, it was good racing. He was riding really good tonight, last night. So it was cool. If you ever get a chance, definitely go to the Supercross. It's really fun. These guys are flying. They make it look so easy. And this is why I appreciate the sport. Anybody can play basketball, shoot a ball. Anybody can hit a baseball. Anybody can hit a hockey puck. Anybody can ride a bicycle. Anybody can hit a golf ball or a tennis ball. Very few people can ride a dirt bike, but even very more few people can ride a track like this. You have to have a license to ride a track like this. It is illegal for someone to ride a track like this. It is so dangerous, you will kill yourself. These jumps look small, but these things are massive. So, just look at this triple right here. You jump the triple, here he is right here, and he's flying. That's got to be, that's a long distance. It's got to be at least 100 feet. Anyways, I think these guys are probably the number one athletes in the world for what they do. And then you have the Red Bull guys who go down those mountain bikes. Those guys are also on another level. It takes a special someone to do that. It's really challenging unless you have a raw talent, because jumping a dirt bike is one thing, but then let's say your front end is too high, you got to get your front end down. Or let's say your front end is too low, you got to get your front end up to land that thing perfectly, right? And then not only that, they're racing and that they're doing it at a super intense level. It doesn't compare anything to football. Football's a man's sport. It's manly. Yeah, it is. Those guys would crush these little tiny Supercross riders. But I'm just saying I think it takes more guts to do something like this than to throw a little football around. But I'm biased, right? And there's a joke, right? And he's like, "Oh, you like baseball?" And it's like, "Nah, I don't like baseball." "Oh, how come you don't like baseball?" "Because I like sports that require two balls." Oh, and he got all upset. This wasn't me. This was a conversation I was hearing, but it was funny. Anyways, you have regular sports and you have extreme sports. I've been to baseball games, I've been to football games, and I'm just kind of bored. I'm just like, nah, it's just not enough action. Like, even when I went to a NASCAR race, it's just kind of boring to me. It's just like, I don't know. Supercross just makes it's so much more gripping, so much more intense. It's not really, like I've been to a basketball game, and every couple minutes they gotta blow the whistle. There's a foul. They gotta call a timeout. They gotta do this. Oh no, he got hit in the head. Oh no, poor baby. We gotta call a timeout. And it's like, like, get the game going. It's just not my style. Like Supercross, if somebody falls and breaks their neck, they're not gonna stop. They're gonna keep going, right? If it's raining, they're gonna keep going. If it's snowing, they're gonna keep going. These guys are beast mode, right? So it's a continuous sport. There's no interruptions like with football and baseball and basketball and all that. And that's what I like. So, anyways, I digress again. So, I think Bitcoin here just looks to me like she's got to break somehow, and we just don't know which way. Um, Now, as far as a count goes, this could be. Um, that's tough because I don't know if the fifth wave ends here or here. If it ended here, you have three down, boom, and then it's over. This is a 1 2 1 2 1 2. Let's go. If it's not, then this is if it ends here, then you have an A, a B, and a C, and this could be like a 1 2 1 2 in here, and then we can continue. Or we have this as our B wave, so A, B, and yeah, I just don't know. Maybe B would end here, and then we would come down for C. It just doesn't look proportional to me. So, yeah, we're just gonna have to wait. You see how everything's getting really tight in here. So you kind of have like a rise, or like a rise crash, retrace, reaccumulation in there somehow. Anyways, Ethereum Classic, not really interesting. Okay, so when I look at this, it looks bearish to me. So maybe we're bearish. So the first two charts, Monero, Bitcoin, looked okay. This chart looks bearish. Yeah, we're coming down here, we're creating a base, but it needs to prove to me we need more of a bullish structure. I don't have that. It looks bearish to me right now. See how we're cupping down, we're cupping down, we're cupping down. It's kind of like a descending triangle. I think this is probably going to break down. Right? Versus if we were creating a base, we were coming down and we were cupping up, right? Like this. And we had like an ascending triangle look. This is more cupping down and we have a descending triangle look. That's what I'm saying. So this chart actually doesn't look that good. All right. But let's see if we could keep looking here. SHIB. Now, SHIB is definitely interesting. There's a lot of coiled energy in here. You also have a descending triangle. So this is interesting. You have Bitcoin at an apex. You have, Monero in its weird position. You also have SHIB. So if we break down and Bitcoin breaks down, Ethereum Classic breaks down, then Monero is probably doing this right here, which is this flat. So we have for example, 3 down, and then we have 3 up, and then we come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So some type of flat, and then we go up. So we could see that. We could see a big dump coming soon. But it doesn't look like it right now for Ethereum or for Monero. But SHIB, it just looks like it. I don't know. It's to me, we have to wait until this range gets broken because it looks really tight in here. Let's see if we can zoom in and see if we could see anything else. I mean, it looks okay right here. You could see we're holding support, holding support, holding support, holding support, right? But you could see it's kind of sloping down, and we have a descending triangle. Descending triangles usually break to the downside. Now, they don't always have to break down to the downside, but we're coming from a downtrend. So coming from a downtrend means, we could probably see a flush to the low, and that would mean taking out this low here. So like, boom, and then kind of go up like that. And that, you know what? That also reminds me, look at this. Look at this right here. If I show you Bitcoin, and we go to, let's go to the 2-day chart or so, right here. Here it is right here. So you see this little area right there? That's probably what's doing it over here. So, I'm just trying to look at the structure here. Yeah, we could see something, we drop in, play around, volatility gets slow, we flush the low. Drop down, volatility slows down, we flush the low. Then we come up and swoop the high, we come up, we swoop the high. I think that's probably what's playing out here. Ethereum Classic SHIB looks bearish. So let's keep looking and let's see if anything else is bearish. Let's look at XRP. XRP's tough, very tough. Man, that's a tough one. It's really a wait and see. This is going to be a breakout trade, right? So there's no trade right now because there's no clear direction. But my belief is whatever we break here is probably going to be, I mean, obviously it could be a fake out and then a reversal, a liquidity grab, but it's kind of a wait and see what happens at this apex, right? So do we break out? Do we break down? I think we have a good chance at breaking up for XRP, but it wouldn't make sense because when you look at SHIB, it looks bearish. It looks like it wants to break down. Or I'm sorry, Ethereum Classic looks like it wants to break down. So yeah, we're definitely at an inflection point here. Now I would imagine we would break up because if this is a 1, 2, a 3, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now we're kind of in a fourth wave triangle. Maybe we could break out and get that fifth wave. It's a tough one, man. It's tough. So yeah, there's nothing here. I mean, at the moment, it kind of looks, like you got 5 here. Maybe we get 3 up and then another 5 down and then go up. I don't know. That's a tough one. We're just going to have to wait. I mean, that's all there is to it. But it is the weekly chart, so let's look at the weekly candle. The weekly candle, the weekly candle is fine. We are basically going to have a brand new weekly all-time high close. This will be the highest weekly close in XRP's history. Okay? And it's approaching in the next 3 hours. Sooner by the time you watch this video. So this will be the second week in a row where XRP has the highest weekly close in history, which is a very, very bullish sign. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, XRP looks great. I forgot to look at Bitcoin's weekly candle. Let me see it. Oh yeah, Bitcoin look okay. So Bitcoin is also about to have its highest weekly candle close in Bitcoin's history. What Bitcoin needs to do is close above 104. 104.4. So as long as we close above this close, this will be the highest Bitcoin close in Bitcoin's history. That's extremely bullish, right? Especially because it hasn't happened in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. This will be the highest Bitcoin weekly close in the last 7 weeks, which is a big deal, So let's keep moving here. ICP looks kind of bearish. I mean, looking at the weekly here, I do like the 3-wave pullback though, into the support line. That's good. So if we can hold a base and break out, that'll be great. Small time frames. Tough one. Yeah, the small time frames look okay. Here's the thing, right? We have an impulse. We have 3 down. We have 3 back up, and then we have 3 back down. It actually looks bullish. Actually looks very bullish. But I'm not sure if it's finished. Maybe we have one more hit to the low, and then we have to break above this resistance line and get through it. Because if we don't, then we get rejected. It could lead to more downside. So we're at the sort of this inflection point here in the market. Anyways, THETA looks good. Oh no, this is not THETA. This is CFX. CFX looks good right here. I like it right here. Let me zoom out. Yeah, it looks good. I think it's the reason I like CFX is because you have this big impulse and then you have this beautiful running flat. So it's very clear and identifiable. Okay? And then what you have here is a nest of 1 2s. 1 2, 1 2, 1 2. So this thing could really flip out. All right? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Not financial advice.